That was quite the cliffhanger we got for this week's episode of Fate, Stay Night, Unlimited Budget Works. The budget in this episode, oh my god, like, that Pacific scene with Lancer versus Archer in this episode, the money that is poured into this series, like, I haven't talked about this for a while, but it still shocks me to no end when I see some of this animation budget in this series, in this anime. Like, to see that Archer and Lancer scene, the quality right there, my god, like, when you see Archer just blocking it, and he blocks Lancer's Noble Phantasm, his, like, spear that was going to pierce Archer's heart, that scene with the budget was just out of this world. Like, oh my god. Oh my god. And then the Castor scene, like that Castor scene when Castor was, impaled, and when you see her, like, bleed and all that, and then she puts her head and on her master is like, oh, you've granted my wish, I've been having my wish being granted since I've been around. That right there, that scene, that just, like, the budget, holy shit. So let's talk about this episode. So this episode of Fate, it concludes battles. It concludes Lancer versus Archer's battle, and it concludes Castor versus Ren'S battle, along with, the Master of Castor fighting Emiya. And that's kind of what gets concluded in this week's episode of Fate Stay Night. But the big thing that happens at the end of this episode with the cliffhanger is that Archer is about to try to kill Emiya. And that, in of itself, is bad. Like, did you see what Archer did at the end of this episode? Like, he KO'd the Master of Castor in 2 hits. Just 2 hits. He stabbed him in the heart, and then he got crushed by the rubble, and the dude was dead. So it just goes to show you how deadly Archer is. I mean, this Master of Castor that just got wrecked at the end by Archer was beating the shit out of Emiya. Majority and throughout this entire episode. And so to see how the level of skill between Emiya and Archer is, it just goes to show you their swordmanship. But this goes even further than that. What I noticed, and probably majority of us noticed, and it kind of confirms almost the theories that a majority of us have now if we're anime onlys, it's pretty damn fucking obvious after this point. Like, I'm almost 100% certain now after this that it's being spoon-fed to me. Like, it's very obvious that Archer either is related to Emiya Shiro in some form, or he is Emiya. Because the way the Trace Arm was done, the way the pendants were done in last week's episode, the way some of these scenes were done in Season 1, it was very obvious. They were really giving it away, and judging by the way this episode was, it's very fucking obvious too. Now, I'm an anime only, I could be fucking wrong, but I'm assuming, because the way that was done at the end of this episode, so, wow. Anyways, the thing is, okay, Archer doesn't have a master right now, so he's just about to go AWOL and attack everybody. Like, he's trying to attack Emiya. Saber's getting up and trying to defend Emiya, but we do know that Saber can't do almost shit at the moment because she's kind of probably either weakened, and we also know she can't really fight well because she doesn't have the best amount of magic in her right now, thanks to what has happened in a lot of the fights in Season 1. So, yeah, I mean, Saber, I don't think she's going to be able to fight Archer at all. Like, I highly doubt that. So, how the fuck are they getting out of this? Unless Lancer steps up to the plate and starts fighting, which, after this episode, I don't want my boy Lancer to die. I really don't want my boy Lancer to die at all, because that ending with the fight with Archer and Lancer, bro, don't kill my fucking Lancer off. Please don't kill my Lancer off. Please don't kill my Lancer off. Like, oh my god, that scene when he gets pissed off with Archer, when Archer was making fun of Ren, and you see him get really angry, and he's like, you really gonna say something like that? That scene, man, just seeing Lancer stand up for Ren, that right there, I'm like, my god, Lancer, oh my god, Lancer, I feel so bad, because I know, judging by how the previous events of Season 1 were Season 2, and what I've seen in the original 2006 Fate, what I saw in Fate Zero, and stuff like that, it's very obvious I'm almost 99% certain, almost 100% fucking certain, that Lancer is going to die, and I don't want that shit at all. I don't, because, man, seeing that fight, I mean, just seeing how his character was in last week's episode, it's gonna suck. It's gonna hit so fucking hard. And I feel like that's the only way that this fight's gonna be okay with Emiya and Archer. Like, Lancer's probably gonna step up to the plate and probably defend them. I'm assuming something like that's gonna happen. Or, this is actually a good one. What if Lancer comes back to Saber? Like, Saber, if I'm correct, she still has that curse on her hand. If I'm correct, Saber still has that curse. So if she still has that curse on her, maybe Lancer will go there, he'll deactivate the curse on Saber, and then they'll both fight together against Archer. That's a possibility too. So there's another theory up in the air. Now, also, getting into some of the meaning behind this episode, Castor's death. It was very impactful for her death. Like, you'd think a character that's kind of been like the main antagonist a majority of Season 1 and Season 2 of Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works would have not a very sad death. Like, the way she died was, you could consider tragic. I mean, from what we know, and from what we've learned in recent episodes, you have to weigh the cost. Like, was she doing bad things? Like, did she really deserve to die? Yes and no in certain ways, but to see how she got her wish, she had her wish granted, and she was spending time with her master, and then she died like that, that was sad. And then it was even sadder when you saw how her master went and started continuing to fight for her dream. And then he died like that, like it was nothing. He died a pathetic, pointless death. Spiral of meaning, remember that? The paradox spiral. But thing is, though, just seeing that was sad. And then you got the Guardian thing at the end of the episode that Archer brings up. He's like, oh, I've been forced to be a Guardian. So he was forced to be a Guardian. Forced to be a Counter Guardian. That's some interesting information. So, forced to be a Counter Guardian. And from what I was told from a bunch of visual novel readers, they told me that the explanation when it comes to Counter Guardians and stuff like that's pretty much been skipped in the anime. So, I shouldn't expect to see anything more on that, which fucking sucks. So, one of these days I want to break down and try to read the visual novel one of these days, because I do want to know more about that, because I do like the ideal of the Counter Guardians. It sounds really cool, especially how, you know, Karo Kyokai did it. Anyways, episode overall, I can't go too far in depth with the episode because, you know, my limitations right now with the 15-minute videos. But I'm just going to cut it short here. A very good, well-executed episode. I like the music. I like the animation. I like the way the episode was done when it came to certain specific scenes. I like Lancer. Lancer's a fucking bro. Archer, what the fuck you doing, bro? You're my boy, but damn, dude, you're just fucking stop it. And that's about it. So, tell me your thoughts. You all have a wonderful day or not. Wherever you live, please be safe. Chibi out.